Welcome everybody, it is Ushi, and today I have a guide on who you should level up for the upcoming raid. The upcoming raid will be coming tomorrow on the 16th of November after maintenance ends, and basically it is a heavy armor defense type. So the main units you'll want to bring are piercing units, or simple terms, the yellow units. So I would recommend up to, I've got a few 3 stars I could recommend, a few 2 stars to recommend, frontline and backline, so there's some free to play options I could recommend as well. First of all, I think the best 2 units, arguably, for this are going to be Lori, that is a 3-star piercing striker. She does a god amount of damage, and they're all should be able to take down the raid boss quite easily. If you have her, highly recommend leveling her anyway. And the other one that I would say is really good for this raid is Maki. Maki has a very high single target damage output, as well as being able to mark the enemy, decreasing their defense, meaning that your other units can kill them as well. Feel free to bring both Lori and Maki into the same team if you have them both, but both being 3 stars, not everybody might have them. You can re-roll for one of them if you're starting the game, though I would recommend Lori for re-rolling, as she is one of the best units in the game already. But Maki and Lori would be the best for single target damage out of the 3 stars for piercing. In the backline, I would recommend Karen. Karen does high damage on her ult and does sniping from behind. Basically, her ult is a high damage single target nuke, pretty much. I would recommend leveling her as well. She can definitely probably is the best backline for this raid specifically, as she has the highest piercing single target damage out of all the backline currently in the game on the global release. There's not many other backline options, unfortunately, with piercing damage. I would recommend bringing a healer. Serena does that insanely well. Fuka if you need AoE, or Hanane. But another one, though I wouldn't really recommend them, but if you do need somebody to deal damage piercing wise, Yoshimi can work. She does deal damage, not a lot, but if you need damage from the backline, there's not much options right now on global release in my opinion, but Yoshimi can do the job if you don't have Karen. Though I wouldn't highly recommend it to rely on her, but she can still help with the raid for say. Now we're going to go into some 2-star units. Yoshimi's a 1-star unit, by the way, so everybody should probably have her. With strikers, 2-star alternatives, I would go with our Junko, and Nanomi, and Hasumi. Now, Hasumi is more of a bit awkward, but if you don't have anyone here, you just started out new, she did come with a tutorial, so everybody should have her. She isn't the best, but she can work as a damage dealer. She's not bad, she's pretty average, she's a bit clunky, but overall she's still a pretty good damage dealer for the raid, having piercing damage, so I would recommend bringing her if you don't have anyone else as a backline for pretty much striker. Nanomi everybody should have. Nanomi was the one character we got from doing the welcome daily things pretty much for the first 7 days. Basically, you should have enough to be able to 3-star her, and she has some pretty decent stats. Unfortunately, her passive does not work against raid bosses, but she normally does bonus damage to bosses. Unfortunately, not the raid bosses, but she would be a decent damage dealer as well. Her ult goes left and right, but she'll still be able to deal some pretty decent damage if you don't have other options. And then now, in my honest opinion, the best 2-star for this raid would be Junko. Junko pretty much just fires straight in a line with her ult. I think it's around 4 or 5 cost, but it does some pretty good damage. Again, they're not going to be able to outperform Lori and Maki in this specific raid, but they're definitely good options if you don't have them. That's pretty much it. Basically, the raid you can do 3 times a day, and it will last for a week, so a total of 21 times. You're going to need to be up to 4-1 and complete 4-1 to start this raid. So make sure to grind up to there if you haven't already. And here's just some pretty simple units that I would recommend to bring. Mainly you just want to bring piercing damage, mainly single target, but you can bring whoever you want. I'm just giving you recommendations on who I would recommend to use. Again, if you want some front lines, Tsubaki for tanking, Hoshino works, but mainly you want that high single target damage dealer where Lori, Maki, Junko, Nomi, and Hasumi can do. And with the backline, I would recommend Karen. If you don't have Karen, Yoshimi can work. Again, this raid is pretty easy, being the first ever raid out, and everybody just starting a week. the raid is pretty simple and you shouldn't worry too much about it. Just make sure you use your free tickets a day, as it does give some pretty good materials. And if you don't have Maki, you can get pretty much the crystals for her to unlock her, as it will be in the shop that you can get the materials from the raid. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. Please give a subscribe and a like. I would appreciate it very much. I will be bringing more Blue Archive content. I've recently got into the game and been quite into it. And also follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/GiveUshiHeadPass if you would like to catch me live streaming other games like League, Blue Archive, and Fate Grand Order. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.